Good evening, everyone. This is Auntie Kim. Hope all is well. Jamal will be on in just a few minutes, so we'll give him some time to get going. We thank you for being with us. It is Saturday afternoon, and we're about to start our fifth podcast and have some great information that we want to share with you this evening. Hope that everyone's doing well. Want to give everybody a few minutes to come and get on in with us. Let me know you're out there. Greatly appreciate it. I see someone who's with me. I know I had a few friends that told me they were busy and that they would wouldn't be able to join us tonight. So um, that's cool. We appreciate the support. Remember, if you get the opportunity, if you haven't, I would appreciate it. Hey, Philly, how are you? Good to see you, Dennis. Um, Remember, if you guys get the opportunity, if you've not already done so, please go out and like our YouTube channel. Also, hit our social media pages. This gives us an opportunity to kind of follow our progress. And you're chilling, good deal. To follow our progress and just kind of know how we're doing. Um, Again, we're excited. This is our fifth one in. I've had a long week, as I think I've shared with many of you. I'm in my second career, which has taken me into education, and so the weeks get quite busy. Yes, and please make sure you hit the like button on all our pages. We have a Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, and then of course we have our YouTube channel. And we would appreciate the support on all of those platforms. It gives an opportunity again to know how we're growing. Our email address is getthebelt23@gmail.com. And you can feel free to reach out to us via email if you have a topic or comments regarding our program. We would love to hear from you. We would love to explore any topics that you might have and begin to share those. So we're certainly looking forward to doing that. I'm going to give Nephew a few more minutes to try to come in. I'm surprised that I was able to manage to get here on here by myself without calling him 15 times. So I've kind of got this down to an art. But I notice I feel like I have my cell phone up. I have a Kindle Fire book up. I feel like I need another laptop just to sort of keep things going and look up all our information so I'm not constantly taking notes by my hand since my handwriting is awful. Dennis, how was your week? I hope it was a good week. Nice way. Yeah. I think my daughter Libby and Quinn will be joining us. Again, I had a dear friend come in and say that she was having computer problems. Um, but always, as I say, we appreciate the support. I don't want to get too far in the program without him getting there. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes. I see three people so far. And again, whoever you are, I greatly appreciate you. Regardless of whether we can see you up front, I do appreciate that you're with us in the backdrop. It means a great deal to us. Um, and again, this evening starts our fifth podcast. And so that's kind of cool because we wasn't sure how this was going to go or how well it was going to go over, but we've had a tremendous amount of support. So I certainly appreciate that as we continue to journey along with that. I'll give it a few more minutes. I see four people so far, so thank you, whoever you are. I appreciate you guys chiming in. Nephew says he's trying to handle something real quickly and then he'll jump in and join us. And he told me to get started. So I guess he had the faith to know that I would be able to actually get this going. And so I did. And that's a good thing. I've had to rearrange my office again, trying to make sure I got the right lighting and all that stuff in. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the backdrop of trying to get this going every week and making sure everything is set up. But it's all good. Um, Let me do some housekeeping. As you know, and as I continually state, that the views expressed during our podcast are our own. Um, and some of them you will agree with them, and some of you will not. Please do not come for us because we're either going to laugh or your feelings are going to be hurt. We respect everyone's opinion. We're happy to have you comment during the show to share your thoughts and your feedback on our discussions. But, as it is, it's our opinion and our podcast. So we kind of flow from there. If you were listening to any music in the backdrop, I would tell you that we don't own the rights to that. If we did, then we would probably be doing something else because if you own the rights to music, then you're getting paid. And we're not at that point yet. But I want to make sure I do that. And I would love to receive some belts in the mail. In fact, I'm going to keep wearing the belt that I have until you guys send me a new one. And I think at this point, everyone kind of gets the joke on the get to belt piece there. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get started while he comes in. So, my in the news topic this week, and I'm sure possibly if you guys, I don't watch the weekly news and a particular news channel, it gets to be a bit much. But there was an incident. Hey, Yolanda, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. I'm waiting for nephew to come in, so I'm trying to buy a little time here before I go into our in the news topic. But glad to have you. My co-founder of my nonprofit, Shirley's Child, has found her way in, so I greatly appreciate that. And there are a few others of you that I see that are in the backdrop. And again, I don't know who you are, and that's perfectly okay, but we appreciate the support. So there's a particular story that I kind of want to cover on the top end of our program this evening. And that's an incident that happened in Lansing, Michigan earlier this week, where 12-year-old Tashawn Bernard took the trash out to the dumpster in his apartment per his father's instructions as his dad was in the house washing dishes. Tashawn was gone probably few minutes more than what his dad thought. So he goes out to the balcony of their apartment complex, of their door, to see what's going on. And lo and behold, 12-year-old Tayshawn is being handcuffed by the police because he fits the description of someone who was had stolen a car in the area and had run to that area, and supposedly that individual, hey baby, hey Gina, that suspect was dressed the same as Tayshawn. So when the police were riding through the neighborhood, hey Libby, good to see you. When the police were riding through the neighborhood, 12-year-old Tayshawn, who happened to be wearing what is now said to be a gray shirt but green shorts and happened to also be black, fit the description of the suspect. Luckily, and thank God, I'm going to say this for nosy neighbors. There was a neighbor who recorded the entire incident. And as they were recording the incident, the little fella wasn't outside probably maybe no more than 5 minutes, but longer than his dad thought he should be, just to go and dump the trash. His father comes out, and they have already put this 12-year-old young man in handcuffs, and for a few seconds, as I understand it, actually placed him in the back of a police car. Dad is livid, trying to figure out what in the world is going on. Here's the good thing: Tayshawn kept his composure, and he didn't attempt to run or fight the police or get loud or anything of that nature. Tayshawn's father, whose name is Michael, he also didn't come out and didn't attempt to get aggressive with the police, but he nonetheless was very upset and trying to find out just in a matter of probably wasn't even 10 minutes what in the world has gone on. So they did in fact release Tayshawn. They took the handcuffs off, apologized, explained that he fit the description of the suspect. I've seen an updated version of, and I'm not sure why they did this, But okay, so on an updated version of what's gone on in the news media, they put a picture of Tayshawn sort of next to the suspect. Um, the problem with that is that at the end of the day, what people are attempting to say is that, but Tayshawn is a 12-year-old child, and you should have been able, and I know 12-year-olds commit crimes and all of that, but you should have been able to look at this 12-year-old child who is walking, and I didn't mean to laugh, but it's, you have to almost laugh sometimes to get through the process. You're looking at this 12-year-old child who is literally just walked away from the dumpster and putting a bag of trash in, as opposed to an adult male who is just ran off in with a stolen car. And so there lies the problem. Thank God for the neighbor who was recording this and all of it, and showed all of it, so we know exactly what did and did not happen. The police chief in Lansing, Michigan, has issued an apology that it should not have happened, and that they wanted to keep the relationship with the community was extremely important to them. And they've apologized. Tayshawn's parents, I think, have been on Morning America. And if you listen to this young man speak, he is absolutely articulate, very well spoken, and you can tell very well behaved. And even in the interview, he was calm and composed. And so you got to sort of ask yourself at some point, and the police chief goes on to say that his officers were respectful and polite, and they were. But we've heard this story so many times, and I'm just concerned of how bad this could have gone. I think I would have been scared. I don't even doesn't appear that he cried out for his dad, but I would have been frightened and scared. Nephew, oh,
Hey, 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 hey.
you know what? I don't
I'm
have
here
on.
finally.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, and I didn't even have on my headphones. I was going over our in the news section. Thank you. You good, baby?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
Just
So
just
my
walking in. I'm good.
Okay, so my co-host is here, so I'm going to go back over this because I didn't even have headphones on. I'm going to assume everybody can hear me. I'm talking about Tayshawn Bernard in Lansing, Michigan, who, at the request of his father earlier this week, was taking out the trash. Dad realized Tayshawn had been gone for too long, went out to see what was going on, only to find his 12-year-old son in handcuffs in the back of a police car. Mistaken identity as Tayshawn looked like a suspect who had stolen a car. Both Tayshawn and his father handled it well, given the circumstances. Thank God for the nosy neighbor. I don't know whether she heard the commotion or whatever the case was that filmed all of this. But as I'm saying, this is happens too often. And I think of 12-year-old Kim just out of sheer fear. I probably would have panicked and harm would have come. And in this case, no harm came. Tayshawn didn't attempt to run away, argue with the police, or anything of that nature. His father didn't attempt to be physically aggressive with the police. But in fact, as you can see for those who have watched the news footage, the live footage, was extremely upset. But I just, again, where does it stop? Where does this type of behavior stop? Where is there not a better way this could have handled? Could they have not have asked this young man, "Who are you? Where did you live?" Because he could have said, "My mom and dad, I live right there, and I was just taking out the trash." I mean, in a matter of minutes, they rolled up several police. He was handcuffed and placed in the back of a police car. And I agree. Someone said they should have asked for his parents and waited, because if they had made enough inquiry quickly as to who you are and looked at him, and again, even though you put the picture side by side of the actual suspect, he's a 12-year-old child. You can look at him and tell he's a child. And so Where does that stop? And I applaud both he and his father for how they handled it. Because I think if I had come out and seen Libby in handcuffs with the police for taking out the trash to our dumpster right beside my house, I I cannot promise you I would have handled it that well. But I'm asking, where does it end? Where does it end? We got Miss Gina, we have Dennis. Miss Yolanda's on, Jamal. She's joined us. Libby's on.
I put it up there. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just walking in. Salute to everybody in the chat. What up to everybody? Sorry, I'm on CP time today. Hanging out with some other family. Black folks will be black. And today I showed my true colors being black today. I ain't gonna say the other word that I really would
Wait,
say offline, but I was black today.
but Jamal, I got on. You said, he says, Auntie, hit it. Go
You had to
live.
go.
I said, okay, clink. And I went to talking.
I'm just happy
And
that
I'm
you could
going,
do it.
ooh, I'm going to talk.
That's my thing. I'm just happy because for me,
Me too. Me
Congratulations. You
too.
played yourself.
ooh man, it was bad for me. But we here. Rami walked in with me. She know what it is.
Hey,
So,
Rami.
hey Marcus, what up to
Yes.
everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Man,
Yes.
black
Yes.
black being black sometimes, boy, it's a gift and a curse sometimes, boy, because we anyway.
So,
Yeah. But taking out the
so,
trash.
yeah. So I put that out there. Um, and is it race, police, a lot of different things. I just as a individual who continues to hear these stories, I am so grateful that it didn't go bad. Like I said, I my 12-year-old Libby probably would have passed out. I would have been beside myself to walk out our front door and to see my child in handcuffs because she looked like somebody just from me saying, Libby, go take out the trash. Why are you still out there so long? I mean, it could have just, they both had such composure. And for those of us who have listened to the young man, he did an interview. He's articulate. I believe he wants to be an engineer. Because how quickly could this have gone the wrong way? Where does it stop? And so that's my question there. And in a similar, somewhat similar story, and I don't have my notes in front of me. And again, could have happened to anyone, but a black woman was 8 months pregnant, was arrested because based on facial recognition from whatever cameras or whatever they do, she fit the description of a woman who was carjacking, and she got arrested. And so even the chief of police, I believe this may be in Detroit. So even the police or chief is saying, he says, we're going to have to do something with the facial recognition. And obviously this 8-month pregnant woman was not out carjacking. For those of us who have carried babies, when you're about 8 months along, you're not doing too much running, bobbing, getting aggressive with anyone. But the problem with the facial recognition is very as detailed as it should have been. So she got arrested simply on facial recognition for committing carjacking at 8 months, being 8 months pregnant.
Let me bring up a story. I remember I was in the ninth grade, and my ninth grade year, I was walking home, and I went to a private school at the time. We wore ties, the whole nine. We had a uniform. I remember getting pulled over by the cops and them asking me, where was I going? I'm like, it was my first time. I'm like, I'm going home. And I just kind of remember that time, like how aggressive they were. It was another friend of mine too, that was with me at that time. And they were being aggressive with us in a way I had never been, how do I say it? I had never seen that type of thing done to a, well, at that time I was 14. So
So you were a kid.
yeah, I was a child. So to see how cops and how they articulate the certain things that they do to be, to hold that badge and everything, it kind of put a damper on my life in a way. That's why I really don't mess with too many cops. I mean, I got to really know you to really mess with you. But most cops, I don't really fool with it at all, black or white. So it has nothing to do with color. It's just you wear a badge. I don't really fool with you. But that's other stuff as well. But just to know that my first time being pulled over by a cop and being harassed by a cop, I was, in the ninth grade. I
Right.
had a tie on. Like, what am I
Right.
supposed to be out here doing? Granted, I'm walking in
Right.
the hood and everything, going home, but I just remember getting home at the time and telling my dad everything, and I just remember how I felt at the time, just violated as a black
Right.
man, as a man in general. And they went through my backpack. I remember the dude throwing stuff down on the ground. Like I never forget that type of stuff. You just don't
Right.
forget it. He threw my
Right.
stuff down on the ground. You got to be having drugs and everything. And I'm looking at him like, "Are you serious, man? Like I'm just walking home from school." And if people who know, yeah, let's just say any area that you lived in a uh, hood neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? They always want to check on kids and see what's going on. So it doesn't start just now. It's been like this from years on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just to see the magnitude of how it is now, the kid taking out trash, he didn't even we see it and we look at him and go,
Yeah.
he doesn't look like he's out doing anything crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he was literally, and I think if you look at the film, he was literally like right by the dumpster when this happened. They did
Absolutely.
say that the suspect had just had driven into that particular apartment complex, and again, I laughed. Thank God for the nosy neighbor, because how why this is it come to light, because I guess I don't know whether he or she was out on their balcony and happened to see this, but this happened in a matter of minutes. Dad said, "Take the trash out." He said he was washing dishes, told him to go take the trash out. He's 12 years old, and it wasn't far, but he said he noticed in a few minutes, he's like, well, he should be back in the house by now. And that's when he goes out, and I'm watching in a matter of minutes my child in handcuffs in the back of a police car, being mistaken for someone who's stolen a car. I think at 12, the baby's not riding, driving or anything of that nature. But again, you could look in his face, and yes, I know that kids commit crimes. I'm not. This is a crime. I know the children do things and they commit crimes, but this was a 12-year-old child taking trash out. And I just think that to the degree, although there's been an apology and all that, a simple question, where are you coming from? And him being able to say, my parents are right up here in our home, and having to go knock on the door or have them to come out would have solved that, as opposed to you putting this child in handcuffs in the back of a police car only to realize, and as they want to say, wrong place at the wrong time. How many of us are been in the wrong place at the wrong time? That is, and yes, and that's accurate, that we can be in the wrong
Absolutely.
place at the wrong time. But whoa, you know, taking out trash at 12 years old, those
It's
that's a
unfortunate, man.
yeah. But I applaud the way Michael, the father, and I applaud the way the young man handled it. Hey, Dominique,
Wait,
good to see you. Yeah, what's up? So that's sort of my in the news there. It's just
wait, hold
I
on, hold
just
on.
think we have to be mindful.
Yeah. You know what's funny to me right now? And shout out
What's
to you because I love how comfortable you get and you shouting out everybody you starting to put, the puzzle pieces together with the people. Now you're interacting with the people. I love this, y'all. Y'all really don't understand how much behind the scenes my auntie relies on us. Boy, y'all don't understand. But now I love that she's out here and
Jamal
now
trying
she
to get
can
a
interact and talk with y'all. Like this me, man, y'all have no clue. Like she's talking with you guys now. Like she knows some of y'all and some of y'all that she doesn't know. Now she's like, hey Marcus, hey Gina, like she's really getting to know y'all. So it's like it's dope. It's dope. Trust me. I like
what
this. I love this.
he does, but what he want to say, I'd about got on his damn nerves, and he was ready for me to catch on.
Touche.
That's that's really
It's
what
happened a couple
he
of times where I've
he
been like, come on, Auntie,
he
come on, you
whatever,
got this.
whatever, and he can't divorce me, so he's stuck with me. So it's like, what do you do? But I'm like, whatever, and I'm the person that if you tell me, okay, we need to do something, and it's gonna start at 5. By 4:15, I'm plugged in, going, well, where's everybody else? I don't understand,
You,
and I got to realize
you,
everybody doesn't operate like that.
you and Dennis, y'all need a show together because y'all are the two most punctual people I know. That regardless of what's going on, Dennis is before time. You are before time. It's y'all military folks. I
Is that what that is?
swear to
I, I'm like,
absolutely.
it's 4:15. We started 5. We should already be on checking lipstick, makeup, shirt, tie, whatever, sound checking all that. And I'm like, Jamal, where are you? He's like, I'm
I
gonna need
was
for you to go
I
ahead
was
and hit that button
literally
tonight.
let me say something. I was literally doing 95 to get here, to get back on the show. Trust me, I was moving.
Oh my
Rami just went to
God.
sleep, riding with me like, well, let me just go to sleep. So she know how I get when I get in these modes, and I just be trying to get here. We here,
We
we here
here.
now.
We're here.
Next portion of the news, please.
But five podcast in. This is our fifth podcast
Absolutely.
in. And as I told everyone, I would love to wear a new belt. We didn't have any music in the background. Our opinions are our own and all that good stuff like that. But we just appreciate the support. Five podcast in. So yeah. So that's our end of news. And again, if you have topics that you see during the week that you would like for us to share or discuss, feel free to do so. Did I tell you that the dog man tried to enter a dog show? I think that was 2 podcasts ago. I know I can't let that go. That's some funny stuff.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
Whatever. He tried to enter a dog show, but they wouldn't let him because he's too
Please let
fat.
that go.
Okay.
Let
I'm
that rest.
sorry. Okay.
Please let that rest. That man got his own little, life that he want to
Okay.
do and his own
Okay.
fantasies, and
Okay. I'm
I
gonna
don't
let
know
it go.
what you got a fixation about that dude and then his
Just
his animal out. Father
fourteen
help us.
thousand dollars, looking like Lassie.
Auntie, let it
This
go.
just I don't know. This
Let's
is
let's
kind of fascinating. But the fact that you want to enter a dog show, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Anything new on
y'all see what
Lizzo?
I deal with? Y'all see what I deal with now? Like, do y'all really see what I deal with?
Just fine,
Father help me.
fine, 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 fine. Okay.
Father help me.
So listen, last week we talked about relationships, and I thought I had let it go just a little bit. What did Rami say?
Oh,
Y'all
Rami,
do
see,
not the dog again.
see, see.
Whatever.
Oh man. Uh huh. So last week.
Listen, and the guy with the chair has an attorney, and he's raised, yep, he's raised quite a bit of money for his defense. With the white folding
Huh?
chair, he got an attorney because his
Oh,
charges are because charges are brought against him for that folding chair,
I
and so
mean,
he has an attorney, but he's out on bail, and he's raised quite a bit of money for his defense. And I will, never look at a folding chair, a particular white folding chair, ever again the same. Okay, listen. Relationships part 2. And we entitled this Ignoring the Red Flags. And I
Let's go.
sort of thought, so Jamal sent me a video earlier this week, and it is of a couple who are standing at the altar
To love, command,
to
cherish,
take their vows. And it's a beautiful church wedding. Pastors all decked up. She is on a beautiful dress. He's a handsome young man. And the bride, I don't know who recorded this and put it out there, but the bride refuses to say obey her husband, who him and her pastor doing premarital counseling, that he could never be broke. Now, let me say this. Has someone who is I'm a licensed and ordained minister. I have 3 theology degrees. That ain't part of the podcast, but I got to throw that in here
second half.
to
Look, Sam Darnold was
right to make you understand, right, to make you understand the perception on this. So I typically will never perform a wedding ceremony unless a couple has gone through premarital counseling, either with myself or someone else. I simply won't. I think it's needed and necessary. I think it's a good thing. And I talk about everything from sex to finances to in laws to children to whatever it is that I feel needs to be discussed. I give homework. It's about a 6 weeks process. And I always ask every couple when they come to me, have you already set your wedding date? To me, it's almost an oxymoron to set your wedding date and then want to go through premarital counseling, because at the point that whomever says to you, I don't think it's a good fit, you kind of already knee deep in, your wedding dress is hanging in, your tuxedo's already hanging in your closet. The other portion of that is that whenever I'm dealing with a couple, I always ask, what type of vows do you want to perform during the ceremony? Because there are so many, and some couples decide to recite their vows. There's so many different set of vows you can recite at a wedding. This took the traditional to death do us part, to, for better or for worse, sick or rich or poor, and obey. She opted, and from the minister says that they hit that snag a couple of times. So my problem is, you're standing in this church during your word ceremony. We're laughing, but we've had to stop at the point that you don't want to say obey. I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't. That would be a whole different podcast. Maybe it's antiquated to some. I think you have to understand what obey means. As someone said, not that he's requesting that the woman, as if he is her father, a child. That's not what that's talking about. But if you didn't care for that terminology, you had the option not to have it recited. And then you continue along the way when you get to the point about for richer, for poor. What? I've talked to couples who some of the best times that they've had, that they've been able to go back over and get through, was the days when they was eating peanut butter and jelly and saltine crackers. You're going to have your good and bad days. But I
Absolutely.
find it a problem to be at the altar and you don't want to say obey, and you want to stop at, and he's got to be rich. And the person performing the ceremony, I got to put some onus on him as well, says we kept hitting these stags in our premarital counseling. That's when you pump the brakes and say, hey, you sure we should be doing this? Now, they're laughing in the video, all well and fine, and it's funny to some degree, but it's not. But these are red flags, and they're not the first time he's seen them. So we're asking tonight, how many of us, Kim included, Have we? Hey, Lakiva, sweetie. Hey, thank you for being here. I got another friend on. Thank you so much. Who is also newlywed. How many red flags do we ignore? And why do we ignore the red flags? And if we're honest with each other, we've all been there, done that. But here we are at the altar in this beautiful dress, and they're a handsome, attractive couple. But the red flags of they all. I don't do football, but what do you in football? Don't y'all throw a flag on the course on the football field when the
Flag
play's
on the
not going
play.
right or something?
Flag
Is
on
that
the
football,
play.
basketball?
Yes, flag on the
This
play.
is a flag.
Yes,
This is a red flag on the play. So how many of us
correct.
have ignored the red flags and why?
All of us, if we real. All of
Yeah.
us have ignored red flags because we thought lustfully about a lot of situations more than we actually put in the time with the person. A lot of times, and this is just being real, a lot of times people don't want to be real on the factor of, you know what? It's better to be with the person that makes you grow versus the person that looks good on your arm. And that's a thing that I feel like a lot of times we're so and it's just human nature for us to be physical.
Hold
That's
on.
number one.
I'm sorry. Gina says she loved peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
We all do. I don't know. Well, that's
No,
arguably one of
she's
my
going
favorites.
right, but but my point was that the couples who have been through who through the day would say, "Baby, we ate a whole bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches until we had money to do something to do better." But to your
Hmm.
point, thank you, Gina. But you're right, so you got to love the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Dominique
Yeah.
says people fall in love with a person's potential and then they think they can change a person down the road. Whoo, that's a big one. That's yes. Potential. That is huge. Absolutely. Yeah. And you can't now people can and will change if they choose to, but I'm talking about red flags that flying all over the place and you just I did it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We've
And
all done it. I did it
yeah.
before I got married. I did it. You know, you saw. I went. This is another thing that people got to think about too. Stop letting your single parents, some your single parents. Yes, listen to what I'm gonna say first. Don't. Some of y'all single parents need to not try and dictate your children's future and who they get with because oftentimes, regardless of the fact, just like your life that you lived, you did whatever you wanted to do. And they have to take their bumps and bruises along the way. Because it may not be who you would want them to be with, you have to trust and believe that whoever they're with or whoever they've gotten with, you know what I'm saying? It you hope that it works out. And you hope that they see whatever it is that you see within the person that is not going to work for them. Because ultimately, when you try and push that level of, oh, you need to be with this or that person, my goodness, my 49ers are moving down the field right now. I'm sorry, y'all. Um,
Oh, I'm
when you
about to
see
throw
certain
something
things
at
like
you.
that, I'm answering and I'm talking at the same time. Um, Right now, it just looks that way. So anytime that you think of certain things like that, you have to really pay attention to who it is and whom you're with. I had my situation, and I'm an open book. Thank you, Marcus, that you're saying this. And there are some married parents as well that try and push their narratives
Yeah.
onto their children as
Yep.
well. So let me make that very extremely clear too. I had my own situations where parents want to make their situation of what they're thinking sound better than what it's supposed to be like. And in actuality, just because you don't like whoever the person is with or whatnot and stuff like that, they got a problem with that. And that's something that you have to honestly let go as parents. You know what? You've done your part. You've done if trust and believe in the work that you put into your children. Like regardless of whatever it is, you have to just believe that and honor that for what it actually is. Stop trying to put on Oh, stop trying to put on your children your own stuff, like your own griefs and everything like that, especially the parents that haven't gotten over and gotten the actual help to get over their past. That's an issue. That is a
Yeah,
huge issue.
yeah,
Just saying. I'm just being real about that.
yeah. Yolanda says most times we feel we can fix all the red flags. Absolutely. Or pray them into it like that. Then Jesus really comes and hit the like button. Then it's called settlingly dangerous. It's as someone says, like, you know what, we're gonna pray them in, Lord. Because sometimes the red flags, and we know this, are very dangerous, very dangerous. So now I understand fully what you are saying, Jamal. Is in parents, I get that. But sometimes the old folks, and that's why we talked about this a little bit last time, dating versus courtship. Because back in the day, he or she had to come around, come to church, go to the picnic, sit outside in the backyard with the men while they were smoking a cigar, passing whatever it was. She had to come in there in the kitchen and around the aunties and put her fingers in some flour to see if she could cook and all that. The folks can see things you don't see, that while you trying to
Absolutely.
ignore it because you're so much in lust. Because when you're in lust, and grandmama can say, "Girl, baby, I don't know about that." She's not
Absolutely.
necessarily trying to push her narrative on you necessarily, but we see things, and they see things, and they're just trying to say, "Baby, are you sure? Do you understand?" And so that's why that's important. That's why it's like you bring folks around so they can meet and all of those good things. And so yes, I understand, because at the end of the day, we're gonna do what we want to do. We're gonna be with who we want to be with. It's a terrible thing to be in a situation where you bringing somebody around and nobody in the every time you show up at the picnic, the family be like, "Oh, here she come with that boy." But if everyone feels that way, there's a reason behind that. And let me just say that. Um, and so, yeah, Marcus is saying parents mean well. It's coming from a place of love. Unfortunately, we all have to make our own mistakes, and we do. I just think that parents want to be careful that they aren't deadly and disastrous mistakes.
But now let me say this though too. Parents also have to think about the energy that they pass on to the other family members as well, because
Yeah.
that you got to also think too when you speak on, why does all the family members come around and they this and that. Now you got to think about what Big Mama, the narrative that she shared with everybody about that one that you're bringing around. And now everybody has this thought and mindset of, oh, she's going to be this. Oh, she's going to be that. Here she comes. So now they're already feeling this way about a girl who hasn't even been represented properly. The man, the guy who he's with, or who she's with, hopefully, is defending her, letting them know, hey, she's not like that. She's this, she's that, blase, blase, so on and so forth. And hopefully that narrative can change in some aspects. That's why for myself, and I speak for myself, I don't know a lot of people, well, a lot of people don't know this, but I knew my mother-in-law before I knew my wife. Me and my mother-in-law are beyond cool. Like, I think she might be on here watching. Shout out to Mama Gina if she is on here watching. Shout out to my mom who's on here watching as well. Both my
Absolutely.
moms,
Yeah.
I love them to death. Like, they are beyond cool. I have great relationships with my mother-in-law, to a point my wife don't even have to be around at all. Like,
Right.
I can
Right.
chill, talk,
Right.
shoot the breeze with mines. Like, we're that good with each other. But a lot of people don't have that. And
Right.
because there's misrepresentations of the things that have went along, mama don't agree with certain things, and she hasn't gotten over and looked at how things start moving and start fluctuating in life. A lot of people do not look at certain things like that. So it's like, hold on now. You know what I'm saying? You got to really pay attention to what up, Sean? You got to really pay attention to certain things and how things sound to people, how things look to people. And let me say this too. A lot of a lot of men can be dangerous too. Let me not discredit. I'm not trying to slander moms
Right.
out there. There are a lot of
Right.
men out here. Like y'all gotta watch these men around y'all that say, "Oh, you get married? I wouldn't do that if I was you." Stop with that narrative like it's a bad thing or it's a negative thing because you want to have that woman and she makes you happy. I keep telling people, especially like Libby, and the ones that are coming along, they might be older than me, and if they found that one, live your life like your parents aren't around, because at the end of the day, you have to be happy and satisfied with your decisions that you made, not your parents, not your auntie, your uncle, big mama, whoever. It ain't about them. You can take on and think about certain things that they've given to you and listen, that's fine. But don't let them dictate your relationship. They're
So so is it so then let's throw the ball back over in this court.
what up,
Sometimes
Shantae?
yep,
Hey
I saw
sis.
Shantae. I'm looking at her message. Sometimes we also need to make sure we look as we're going through this process because perhaps the red flag is, oh, this is a crazy ass family and I'm not real sure I want to go here.
Absolutely.
And I have friends whose spouse has said, had I met the family first, all of them, particularly in one gathering, I'm not sure I would have gone there because there's just so much, because we all kind of come out different. And so, this sis is cool. I got a couple of friends like that. But the sisters and siblings and aunties and everything else that go with that, I've seen them wear the brother-in-law out, wear folks out from that degree. So when we talk about red flags, that's why it's important that there's a proper process, as far as I'm concerned, in the dating or courtship that you're doing, however you decide to do it. For that very reason, you want to be around what do the family, how do they look? How are the best friends? How are the dear friends? What kind of folks are there? Those are red flags as well. Who are the best friends? Again, as I said to you last week, all of my dear sister friends who are married, they consider me to be a sister. But my mother taught me as a young woman how to conduct myself. Who's winning, Jamal?
49ers 0-3 right now.
Is that your team, baby?
Absolutely. As you can
Okay.
see in my background.
Thank you.
Sorry that they just have to be playing at the same time. Russell Wilson just broke free on the play, so just had to see what's going on.
I didn't hit you with the belt. But the red flags are there, and they're red flags that can come from all different directions. So we started out with this couple, but red flags could be family. I'm a laugh, and I know Yolanda's on here, so I'm gonna sort of share this, but she shared with me about someone she was dating, and their daughter said to him, "Don't hurt my friends." Speaking of Yolanda, and as we look back on this now and kind of laugh, he was offended that she said it, but now that we've gone through this process and maybe she can laugh and talk about it as well, she knew exactly what she was talking about because she knew how her daddy was. You know what I'm saying? And so in
Hmm.
hindsight, hey, she was saying something. And you might brush stuff off like that. Like if somebody say, if auntie say, well, baby, such and such, and you laugh it off and go whatever. And then you realize they were really trying to tell you something. They were trying to throw a flag out on the field, but they didn't want to ride out and come out and say, "Ooh, baby, you might not," even as it pertains to their own loved one or family members. We got to look and listen to those red flags as well. So
Absolutely.
sometimes the advice that's given, the comments that are given are valid, but we have to be the ones to make sure that we're seeing the red flags being thrown all over the field, and we like, I'm going to ignore that. When he gets angry, he puts holes in the wall. I'm going to ignore that when we're out, she seems to be trying to get the attention of all the men in the place. That's a red flag. That is there's or just all of those. The red flag is I had a dear friend that got married years ago. Two very nice and professional people, and after they got married and they weren't married very long, she found out he didn't want children. And I said to her, as long as you guys had known each other, the conversation of children never came up. I don't understand. How did that not come up? How are we at this point, a year into this marriage, and he's telling you he doesn't want children? How did that happen? Why was that not part of a conversation? That's a huge deal, that one person wants children and one person doesn't. How do you know this same how do you not know that he's not good with finances? When did you not find that out, that he's not good with finances, and you decided you would just kind of, oh well, and you look up, and because that's very important to know. And Yolanda said that's why we should keep an open mind. But that's, we have to, as you say, not get so caught up in the lust of it, and the looks of it and all of that, and see things, because like I said, many of us, there are probably both men and women who are in prison right now based upon domestic abuse, and the red flags were there. They were there during the courtship process. We're good now. Some people are very good about hiding. You can
Absolutely.
hide it and make it look good up until, and you look up and go, whoa, where did this come from? And it was there. It was there, and we just, for whatever reason, chose not to, or didn't take it serious, or to Dominique's point, you know doesn't matter that she's whatever. I see the potential in her, and that's just how she is. She's friendly. She's not flirting with them. She's just friendly. That's how she is. Okay. If you can truly believe that, and you can have had a good conversation about it, and that's what you believe, that's fine. To discern that we're at the altar, and we're having to stop the ceremony, whether we're laughing or not, because I don't want to say obey again. You have to understand the nature of what that means, and the fact that I'm telling you at the altar that you can never be broke. That's too much. I
I
need y'all
also
to
think
stop. Yeah.
I also think when you're courting, ask about how they were raised. I think that is a key thing to a lot
Oh,
of
oh,
understanding in how people are raised, because a lot of things that we look at as just common sense, or they should know, or you know you don't know this. The way people are raised is not always the same way you were raised, and I think a lot of times
no,
people
no.
don't understand that and know that is a big thing that needs to be paid attention to, and if you're
Very
willing to
much.
work through that, because there are oftentimes people love to use the word common sense, and we always say that common sense is not common
It's not
because
common.
of because of the upbringing, like your upbringing, and truly not knowing something oftentimes will show that, hey, that's just the way life was for you. You weren't raised around certain things like that. I'll use, for example, this is something that my wife, okay, when we were dating back in the day, I went over, they had something for church and stuff like that, and they were um it was a game we was playing, and I came out and I'm like, because I'm competitive and everything, shout out to my mom, I'm competitive, and I'm like, hey, Oh man, that's why we kicked y'all butts. And Rami looks at me, she's like, oh, don't say that. Like, and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? And we've laughed about this plenty of times or whatever, but I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you can't say that word. Now, mind you, I was grown then, obviously, when we was dating. So I'm like, what do you mean I can't say what? And I'm like, what did I say? And she was like, the word but. And I'm like, huh? And I was legit confused. And so she's like, yeah, you can't use the word but. How she was raised using that word but. That's something that they weren't using around, grown-ups, elders at that time. That was a certain type of disrespect, or I would say disrespect, but
Disrespect.
yeah. So you couldn't use that word. So to me, I'm like, the word but you can't use that. Like,
So you keep saying it.
are you kidding me? No, I didn't do it. I
Okay.
think I might have.
Okay.
I'm almost positive, and Ron can tell me. I think I stopped saying something, because
Right.
now I'm like, what can I and what can I not say? If that's the case, I don't want to come off disrespectful to people, but I also don't want to be looked at as, well, he can't keep it real. I can keep it real, but I just also want to know, the guidelines or the things that I can and can't do. So around mine, that word, obviously, because me being around that's not something that you was gonna get in trouble for using that word. So it wasn't something that I had or had to be tripped on. So for me, it was just, you just got to remember certain things and how you were raised. And I agree. I totally agree with Lakivia what she said right here. Traumas.
Yeah.
A lot of people have
Yes.
traumas that we
Yes.
really don't truly
We don't talk
pay attention
about.
to, and you don't talk about. I feel like when you're in relationships, people, I keep saying this for real, have the uncomfortable conversations now. Because when you're in that relationship and you guys have already said your I do's and everything's just all peachy and rosy and everything's just so yay and rah, rah, rah. Imagine when y'all have y'all issues and you have that certain time that y'all not getting along. Her breath truly stinks. His feet are truly ashy. And then something, you knew his toenails was crusty and they was ripping your sheets up from the jump. You knew this stuff. But you just sat up there and was cool with it the entire time. You knew that she had hair under her underarms. You was cool with that when y'all was dating. Now all of a sudden, the mustache on her upper lip is bothering you. No, you gotta keep it a buck. Like, yo, this is something that I don't tolerate or I don't do or I'm not cool with. Make those guys set up those guidelines and make sure that those things are talked about, because you don't want this to be an actual situation that you look back on and now this person is hurt behind something that y'all never discuss. Tell people this too. Your relationship really doesn't truly start until y'all get into a disagreement.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's always good. And when
Yeah.
that's in anything. When it's
Yeah.
always good, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, we doing this, we doing that. Then you get mad and it's, oh my gosh, I don't know if I really want to deal with this person. And I don't even know if I really want to. At the end of the day, you will find out what type of person that you're truly dealing with when you have that argument, when you have those uncomfortable conversations, that you get into that situation and you go, oh, you know what? I didn't think about that. And be healthy with those uncomfortable conversations, because it's all about men. It's all about how we use our words. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to really articulate your words. Women, men are black and white. Women are color. Men, hey, we straightforward to the point. It's about this, blase, blase. Women have different expressions, different types. This analogy, that, and that's going on. We're just straightforward to the point. Why doesn't she get this and why doesn't she get that? Why doesn't he get this and why doesn't he get that? It's because you guys have to have those uncomfortable conversations. Don't get into a situation and then y'all sit here and turn around and look back and go, oh my gosh, I did not know this about whomever it
Yeah.
is that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's a rude awakening when you get
Yeah.
around that person, and
Yeah.
then they show they quote unquote true colors.
True
I'm
colors.
glad from and Rami's in here, and if y'all think I'm lying, people, I'm telling y'all, both of us, when we were even in our dating mode, we didn't even know the date of what day that we got with each other. I'm dead serious when I say this. Like, it was like, do you know? Like, people would be like, "Oh, what day is y'all anniversary?" And we'd be looking at each other like, "What day did we get together?" I'm thankful I have a wife that doesn't trip on a lot of things that others may trip off of. I just say it that way. You know what I'm saying? You got to do what's good for you two,
Right.
because it's just you two. It's not you, your mama, your daddy, your brother. It ain't all them. Miss me with all that. Miss me
Well,
with all that.
I'm
You
throw
know,
the
you
hold on.
know, no, you not
Hold
with them.
on, Jamal.
No, you not with them.
Jamal.
I'm with my wife and my
Jamal.
wife only, and she comes
Jamal.
first.
I didn't
Period.
say she doesn't. I didn't say she doesn't. But when you've been married for a long time, I take my best friend who has been married to her husband 30 something plus years, and family is a part of that, down to the degree that he does a lot of things for his mother because he seems to be the only stable sibling. And when her mom was ill, her mom lived with them. And so to compromise, she says, so I don't say anything about what he does for his mom, because when my mother was sick, and I don't want to use the word aloud, but when my mother was sick and and she had other siblings and I had to bring her into the house, he didn't have anything to say about my mother being there and taking care of her. Sometimes I fully understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying that oftentimes, yes, it will also be about family. Prime example, if I, Libby's my only child. And at some point, and I try to make, we've had this discussion. I have things in place so she doesn't end up completely responsible for me. But she and whomever, when she gets to that point, it's like, well, I got to go to my mom's okay. And I hope that they've had that conversation and that he's not only is she coming, but he's coming with her. I had a dear friend I used to worship with, and she had she had just her daughter, and her daughter got married, and something happened one time, and the son-in-law got to the hospital before her daughter did, and he wouldn't leave the room. And the nurse says, he said, my wife is not here. This is my mother-in-law. I got to stay here with her until my wife gets here. And he was serious. That's his mother-in-law. He was trying to protect her. He knew how his wife felt. His wife was the only child, vice versa. Then this same friend said she couldn't understand where every time she wanted to spend time with her daughter, he showed up. And for him, it's like, were we all family? He wasn't trying to intrude on it, but I don't think she understood. My daughter has now gotten married. They're a couple. That's a package deal. And so he's thinking, if we gonna spend time, he just wanted to kind of tag along, not to intrude or anything like that. And she said she had to stop and think about that and realize, she's gotten married. He was a nice. She didn't have a problem with him. They're still married, very nice, and all of that. But so we can't completely. Yeah, yes, it is the couple, but we and I know that's why you and I are sitting here. Prime example, and we've talked about that as well. There's other relationships and people that come into that, and you need to know how they feel about that, because that could be a red flag. It very much could be. If I was a red flag for Rami, we wouldn't be sitting here now having this conversation. Our dynamics would have changed 12, 13 years ago when you guys got married, because she was like, I ain't having that. She ain't really your auntie. I don't know what's going on. She don't really look like no auntie. I'm fine with Liv, but she can't be calling you, asking you to do stuff. We've
Stop
had this
telling. Stop
conversation.
telling. Stop telling.
I'm just
Stop telling.
I'm just saying, come on.
I'm
I've
telling.
I've had a relationship with a nephew that's changed for that very reason. He didn't have the conversation, so red flag. Really? I know him since before he was born. Okay, all right, I'm gonna shut up. Anywho, go ahead.
See, there's a difference, see, in what has been done versus what has not been done. Rami and I, we talked about it. Rami and I knew everything beforehand. Like, some people just truthfully don't know how to articulate to the person that they're dealing with or spouse. If they're not married, the person that they're dealing with. I just use that word. There are people out here that don't know how to truly know how to interact with people in general, but love to be in relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a good one.
I
Okay.
that's just honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are
Okay.
out here and they love being in relationships, and you know, they feel like, well, they're not gonna just outwardly just say it, but they don't know how to
I don't like your mom and I don't want to
be.
be around her.
But instead of having a conversation with the person that you're with, hey, you know what?
Right.
There's a little issue in a situation that I'm not comfortable with, and it has to do with your mom. Now, first of all, like anybody, if you love your mom and so on and so forth, you're going to be on the defense soon as somebody says
Yeah.
something remotely
Yeah.
about your mother.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The defense mechanism goes up. Oh, my mom, what you got a problem with my mama about? Now, if you know how to articulate your words and speak out and, you know, say whatever is on your heart, and hopefully the person that you're with can receive it properly, that's another thing too. Because you may say it just as good as ever, just as respectful, just as
Right.
honest, just as truthful, but the person may not know how to receive what you're actually saying
Correct.
about the parent, you know, because they have been, you
Yeah.
know, me and my mom been down since, you know, we best friends. And oh my goodness, that's another subject I will have to touch on another day. Um, but there are a lot of people that get into situations and just don't know how to articulate words. Good people,
Yeah.
they're very good. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But your
Yeah.
articulation with people is so terrible. It's trash. And it's like, you can be, I'm one of the most blunt people. Auntie knows this. I'm one of the most blunt
Mm-hmm.
people. Throughout the years, I have learned how to turn the bluntness around because I love my auntie. How can I turn around and say exactly what I need to say to my auntie without it coming off disrespectfully, unloved, no thought, uh, uh, just wrong?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to think
Mm-hmm.
things out and then say it to you.
Mm-hmm.
I.e., Rami, the
Mm-hmm.
same way. Like, you have to articulate certain things with people, but I still can get my point across to where it can be heard and not just, oh, here he go. He just going off about something again. And it goes in one ear and out the other. The
Mm-hmm.
person that you choose to be with for the rest of your life, actually try and get to learn that person so you will want them to be around you for the rest of your life. There are
Right.
gonna be times, yes, you not gonna like or whatever, you're in your moments and you're in your feelings, or a certain situation, maybe personal, maybe with you two or whatever the case may be, that something may come up. Learn how to have healthy conversations, even at bad times. That's something. That's a gem right there. Learn
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
have comfortable,
Yeah.
respectful conversations with people in a proper manner.
At bad
If you
times.
truly love that
Yeah.
person, yeah, in bad
Absolutely.
times, truthfully learn that person
Absolutely.
to a point where you can't be disrespectful to them. You know what I'm saying? You can sit up here and tell them, oh, you need to do this, and I need to do that, and I need
Yeah.
you to do, and it's like, you
Absolutely.
just said that all
But
wrong.
yeah. And it's and again, probably if you to your point, if you're around friends and family enough, you'll understand how why they do or don't articulate that in a manner that's a little bit, because they're picking it up how they learned what they saw, and no one had a conversation that says, baby, you don't want to say it that way. So
Right.
and again, so that's why there's the courtship and the dating process that walks you through all that. So he's speaking. That's how he came up. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, and you can deal with it because you know that that's part of his makeup. But that he or she still loves you, respects you, but they don't. And then you tell them or you how you respond. Then it's how they're able to turn their conversation around. Hopefully. So to your point, then you can articulate it in a better way that it's received, as opposed to now every time your mama come up, we arguing and cussing, and next thing you know, we're not speaking to each other. Your brother didn't showed up, my brother didn't shown up, or whatever the case may be. And I get your point, but you know what? At the end of the day, it isn't just about us. But the point with that if that's a red flag, so be it. Because there are people who come from big families. Because said, and they're always going to be, and I'm over here and I got one punch sibling. That's a huge, and you got to, maybe there's a way you introduce that to, you go, okay, because it can seem, and I've been there, done that, it's overwhelming. And y'all thinking what she thinks, y'all. It's like, no, she came from a different background. She has a small family. It's 25 of us. We get together and you know,
But
and to your
but
point, you got to everyone respect. Otherwise, you're constantly, yeah. Yolanda says
I love
that's where there should be compassion, no matter what you're saying. It comes from a place to heal, not to hurt.
absolutely. I think that people
Absolutely.
don't
Yeah.
truly pay
Absolutely.
attention to the defense. This is another thing too. Stop letting your all your family in on your relationship, because everybody in your family ain't for you. Also, that's something too. Like,
True.
just because they family
True.
don't mean that your family wants you to succeed. There are people in your
True.
family that truthfully hate you, that truthfully
Right.
hate on you. I shouldn't say hate you. That hopefully they don't hate you. Might be a dislike. That happens. But
Right.
the ones that, when you have those issues or whatever, see, I told you that was gonna happen. See, I told you this was gonna be this way. I knew that was gonna happen. Stop talking around them people. Stop. Because you at the end of the day, I'm not gonna say you look foolish, but you got to understand what you're bringing to the table and what's about to. You got to understand those bullets are about to come flying back at you now. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
always going to be on
Yeah.
that person
Yeah.
that you're with. They can be whatever that
Yeah.
they want to be. And a lot of times your issues may be becoming because of what you're actually talking about with your family. If you can't have that
Yeah.
conversation between the person that you with and it be just cool and comfortable between y'all two, nobody should know y'all issues. They may see
Hmm.
certain things. They can ask the question, hey, is everything good? It can go there. But to the point of going to, let me just tell you everything about and spew out what y'all got going on, man, that's a
Hmm.
dangerous
Hmm.
thing. That's a
Yep.
dangerous, because
Yep.
everybody big mama ain't
Yep.
for you.
Yep. Marcus.
Everybody big
Yep.
mama is still stubborn and still got her old ways, and
True.
that's why she's still single to this day. Because why you think your grandpa or whatever left? It was for a reason, to get away from Big Mama. Big Mama wasn't always that good, and that's sometimes y'all got to be keep it 100% around here. You got to be real about this. There are some Big Mamas out here that was trash. Love them to death, thick
Yeah.
ankles and
Yeah.
all.
You
But at
you're
the end of the
right.
day, they wasn't that way.
Jamal. Jamal.
Hey man,
You
y'all. Hey, I'm
let's
going
talk
to be
about the
that one. This is the reason why we say
mama's
get the. You
ankles.
gonna have to get the belt. Hey,
Jamal.
it is what it is. It is what it is. Y'all just know. Y'all know
Yeah.
y'all got
Yeah.
them
And
ones in your family.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. No. And I agree, because what happens is, has some of us make a decision that we're going to break generational curses, or that we're going to do this differently than we saw and all that. You got folks that are they're not happy that you've done that, and
Absolutely.
other people can be the red flags, and you got to be
Absolutely.
careful that you both understand that, so it's not a source of contention, so that every time somebody comes around like that, you don't end up in an argument and not understand that this ain't even about their unhappiness. It's not about you. And you got to
There
be
you
careful
go.
because they come in just to do that. They come in there just to do that. Absolutely.
Let me stir this
Absolutely.
pot. Let me stir this
Absolutely.
pot up on you because you know what? They looking too happy over there. What you smiling for? And they don't mean it
Right.
in a nice way. They really looking at you like,
Right.
why you smiling? Why you
Yeah.
think some look, people, I'm just keeping it a buck. Y'all have to look at certain dynamics of your family and be like, hold on, man. I'll just use this for an example. And some folks on here are gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say any names, but they know who they are. If they're watching, it is what it is. You might just need to check the temperature of the room. It is what it is. It's gonna get a little warm. There are people that I know for a fact. We may go places as families or whatever the case may be, and oftentimes it's a lot of it's a it's one sided on a lot of functions that we may gather together at. We may be at one's home or something like that, at a park or at a event or whatever, and the spouse is not around, and it's like, come on, man. But you want to talk about other things that are going around that, why you ain't with this person or why you ain't with that person. And, you know, they laugh at, certain things that's going on. And it's like, hold on now. Hold on now. How dare you sit up here and talk about what everybody's relationship is going on and stuff like that when your relationship is just as tainted and as crazy and as wild as ever. A lot of people that laugh and throw them fingers and point them fingers at stuff got a lot of issues and a lot of situations going on with themselves that they just choose not to have that light shined on them about their
On them.
situations.
Yeah.
I'll just
Yeah.
say it that way. And people who know, they know, they know. I
Yeah.
just feel like, truthfully, you have to consider your circle. And if your circle is true and pure, and sometimes you got to challenge your circle to make sure that they have your best interests at heart and stuff like that. But those real deep, dark things that that don't need to hit the surface or anything like that, that should be between you and your spouse. Period. Point blank. I don't care if it is mama. I don't care if she is your best friend and all that type of stuff like that. She shouldn't know everything about your relationship. And your pop shouldn't know everything about your relationship either. Oh man, he be dropping jewels and gems and all that type of stuff. True, it might be. But think about it. A lot of these fathers out here doing what they doing. Just saying, kids popping up out of nowhere and you looking up like, I didn't know I had this sibling and I didn't know I had this sibling and I always thought it was just me or I always thought it was just me and my other brother or sister or whatever the case may be. And you got about 6 or 7 others. Y'all got to be careful on what y'all doing out here, man, talking this stuff like this, man, because at the end of the day, what you don't want your kids to do, and I always say this to Libby because Libby knows and Libby can tell me if I'm wrong. I always give Libby the utmost truth because at the end of the day, I never want Libby to come back to me telling me and put the puzzle pieces together in her own head and have her own perception about her stuff and be like, wait, I remember you told me this, but you out here doing this.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Be real with
Yeah.
your kids, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Get we
Yeah.
who was it? Lakivia said, the traumas and everything like that. Handle those traumas, man. See whoever it is or your circle. I hope that your circle is tight enough that you can speak and talk to them and get those things out before you get with that person. Because I hate for that person to actually be the one that was supposed to be for you, but you ruined it because you didn't take care of yourself to get that person and to keep that person. Just keeping it a buck,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real about this to y'all. Because I've messed up too many times out here. You know what I'm saying? To sit up here and know that what I got, and y'all can have this life. I know what I got. I know how I can speak to her. I know how she can speak to me. And ooh, that stung. You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather it sting coming from her than from anybody else. Nah, but everybody don't like truth. We can say, oh man, just give me the truth. Just,
Yeah.
I'd rather hear the truth and everything. Be careful. Be careful. Because when people hit you with
Yeah,
that
yeah.
truth, it's up to you on how you accept that truth.
Absolutely. 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 So listen, guys, let's be careful of the red flags. We talked about last week in our relationships and what's healthy and what's not. Um, but let's be careful of the red flags. Let's make sure, so that's why everyone does not belong in your inner sanctum, your sacred space, which is with your significant other. Absolutely, absolutely. Should you have someone that you can talk to? Absolutely, because sometimes people can talk you off the ledge, or you got that friend to say, "Girl, but I love you, but now I know you." So let's be honest. Tell me what you did with this. Where you are. You need to have those type of friends. But this was about not ignoring the red flags. So again, whether you do or don't agree with saying the word obey, I want to make sure you understand the concept and the ideology behind it to be at that place at the altar and say that you're not going to say it. I want to make sure that if he or she tells you that you can never be broke, that might not be the person for you because you can run. You might go with that concept, but you can run yourself in the grave trying to make sure that you never broke to keep a person happy. That's a horrible place to be. Because some of the older couples will tell you we had a whole bunch of days we ate hot dogs and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And now look where we are.
Right.
Had we not gotten through
Rami
those
and I did
times
it.
together, yeah,
Absolutely.
had we not gotten through those times together, we wouldn't appreciate what we have now. How do they act when
Absolutely.
they get angry? How do they handle
Absolutely.
grief? How does he treat his mother, whether you do or don't like her? How does he treat and why? How does he treat his siblings? I saw somebody say, how does he treat his siblings? How how
Absolutely.
how is that? How is he with Auntie? What is that relationship about? How does he treat your
Absolutely.
friends? Or is he the brother-in-law where everybody else, what, that's your sister? I know y'all done been friends since y'all was come on. Is he that brother-in-law? I have friends where their husband, that's the brother-in-law of the family. He didn't been there for everybody. And he is and
Absolutely.
that's important. I have a dear friend whose sister-in-law died in his home and he was grief-stricken. He was the brother-in-law. She
Yeah.
never got married.
Yeah.
His wife had several sisters who never got married. He's the brother-in-law. His father-in-law has since been dead. So he was the man of that family. And he took care of his sister-in-laws as well. You need to know that
I'll
that's the
say it.
type of man you get involved in, or vice
I'll
versa.
say it. Yeah. I'll say it this way too. I got a aunt. Love her to death. Not you, auntie. But another one. I'm not even gonna say which side because they may watch it, whatever. There are a lot of traumas. It's very rare that I saw this aunt smile. Very rare.
Mm,
A lot of negatives in her mind, the way she
mm-hmm,
spoke,
mm-hmm.
negatives. And I would see certain things as I was growing up, like, I see why you don't have a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just it's wild that certain things come along because people do not handle those traumas from years ago, from
Mm-hmm.
before they were ever in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And excuse me, I'm just gonna keep it real. And man, there are exceptions to every rule. So let me make that clear. Most people on this earth don't want to be by themselves.
I agree. I agree.
Most people
Most
are on this
people
earth
don't.
don't
Most
want to
people don't.
be by themselves. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And it's like
Mm-hmm.
the ones that
Mm-hmm.
do, some have actual issues that they've never just actually faced and conquered. They rather just go on. You got the ones that tell you, you go to counseling for what? Man, that don't do nothing for you, man. What you
Right.
silly for sitting up there talking to them people about this and that and yada yada yada. And
Right.
it's like, okay now.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now y'all got to be careful of the stuff
Yeah.
that you spew out. That's why I Miss Yolanda said it. That's why you have to be so open minded when you're in relationships. Because if you're not, I'm telling you, you close minded people that are out here, it's my way, the highway, do as I say and not as I do type people, you will be by yourself because you
Mm-hmm.
didn't think about how the other person that you are with was raised. You didn't think about
Mm-hmm.
their functionings of a daily basis. You don't even know how they interact with other people. Have you even looked at that? Hopefully, you've handled your own insecurities so that your own
Yeah.
insecurities won't
Yeah.
jump onto that person
Very
that you
important.
with. You know what I'm saying? Because that stuff
Right.
is dangerous.
Right.
It's very detrimental. And be careful of the company you keep around. You know what I'm saying? That's why
Yeah.
oftentimes
Yeah.
people, cousins, family members, or whatever, they are off limits to the fullest. Because I look at it from that perspective. I take it, I'm a different being. How you're raised, again, that it is what it is. The way I was raised, people around me, or whatever the case may be, they may bring somebody around and they can very well be attractive. Let's not act like once you get married or whatever,
Right.
that the
Didn't no
only
one
person
you
you
know
with is
right. Right.
please get this out your head, people, because I swear
Right.
there's people out here that just be respectful to the person you're with. Let me just leave it at
Absolutely.
that aspect.
Absolutely.
Um, but you have to pay attention to the ones that are out here that have to look at the other people and just go, you know what? Nah, man, I'm not going to even go down that path, regardless of where your mindset may attempt to go. Don't even go down that road. Let it go, leave it alone. Don't even go there. I look at it from a perspective of once I see a person that is a cousin or sister or whatever they are, friend, whatever, off limits. Period, point blank. I mean, any woman's off limits. Let me make that very clear too.
Right.
But I'm just saying within my circle, you off limits. Period, point blank. Oh, this is my friend such and such. Just know that you become if y'all are that cool to be around like that. Oh, you become a cousin. You become a
Correct.
sister. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
It's
Correct.
no.
Correct.
We not about to straddle that fence of
Correct.
y'all having issues, huh? Oh, okay, y'all got them issues, huh? You know, I'm here to talk. Nah, we're not doing
Yeah.
that. We're not
Yeah.
doing that at all. If you can't help me within my situation, I really don't need you around me. And that's just
Yeah.
keeping it above. And you should want to not have them people around you. Hopefully everything goes. Hey, salute to you,
Mm-hmm.
Marcus, because going on
25
25 and
years.
everything like that,
25
that's a
years. I
blessing,
saw
bro.
that.
That's
I
a
saw
blessing
that.
in this, son, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
One day at a
Yolanda
time, bro.
Yolanda raises another point. She says, "One near and dear. How does he or she encourage you to have a right kind of relationship with your children from a previous relationship? That's important in this day and time. Many of us have children from previous relationships and marriage. How that's very important. It can be that you I have nieces and nephews from a previous marriage that I still have from a marriage I had many years ago, and just like I know most people, I think almost think you are my nephew, and I have other nieces and nephews, but all of that. So do I have to give up niece so and so because that came attached to an ex-husband or ex-wife? All of those things we need to look at. But as you continue to say, it comes down to having those conversations. You got to have them. We got to be mature enough, spiritually mature enough to have those conversations. I applaud anyone who has made a decision to seek counseling, whether it be biblical counseling or psychiatrist or whatever that type of whatever that level of counseling is for you. I applaud anyone who does that. I please let that be okay to go and have those conversations. It's okay. We're looking in the mirror and saying, you know what? Ooh, I need some help. I got to fix this. But this was
And
all
there's
about
nothing
just
wrong.
nothing wrong
There's
with it.
nothing wrong with that. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with coming to the conclusion of, you know what? Maybe it is me. There's
Yeah.
nothing. Let me
Nothing.
and thank you, Marcus, for what you said on this, bro, because I truly believe I am truly one of those people who is trying to change the narrative of black men that And some of us know about this. And I'm around that age to understand and know that you had them ones that lived literally across the street from you, and your daddy was, over there from time to time, and he was really, over there making a family. You know what I'm saying? Like I come from that era as well too. It might have been the latter portion of it, but I understood and I saw certain things even when I was younger. Like they shouldn't. Why is that person over at Mrs. Nah. Handle that stuff. It's nothing wrong with talking about your past and your traumas like that to try and be better, to try and change the narrative on your own family's heritage, to be that one. Dare to be different. So what if you are different?
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing to be different. For you to change the narrative of your whole family because of those generational curses that you have that have been bestowed on all of us from
Yes.
years on and time again, when you look around at all the relationships that have not worked and everything like that, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
and yours is working.
Yeah.
Continue to be that one.
Yeah.
You can be a change because you never know who is paying attention to your relationship and looking at you and going, dang, man, they always was cool. They always was dope. They always was this and that. I appreciate when Libby comes around. You know what I'm saying? Like when she comes and hangs and stuff like that, because to me, granted, now I've reached that level of the OG, type level. I'm fine with that now. You know what I mean? Because I know that what I'm leaving back, that little stamp in her life, she'll never forget. And one thing she can always say is, hey man, my guy daddy kept it a buck with me all the time, and he kept it real with me. I remember the day, when she was in high school and the little boy broke her heart. You remember that night I got on her butt that right then and there. And I told her right then, don't lip. And I said some choice words to her, and Libby knows what I said to her. But I've always kept it real with Libby to understand and know. Like, hey, I'm getting you prepared for what's out here. I want you to know what's going on. And I never want you to be blindsided by something that you didn't see coming or didn't see happening or wasn't aware of this even being a thought or whatever the case may be. Hey man, everything above, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything is a revolving door of what we go through in life. It's just a different dynamic of the way that it's going. So that's just all I got to say. Yeah, I've talked a lot tonight. I've just been trying to drop these little gems, and I hope somebody heard some things. I hope I helped.
Absolutely.
I hope we helped.
We wanted to have the conversation. When you brought it back to me, it was like, we got to do part 2. When he said ignoring the red flags, I was like, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of our relationship being in 2 different generations is when you brought that back, and I had to look at that video a couple of different times, and I was like, yeah, this was really, you know what? It was funny. I get that she didn't want to say obey again based upon where I've been. I would have maybe taken it out, but understood. I'm going to give the minister his props. He seemed like he was experienced, so he knew he was confident enough to stand there and do that. But it came down to the red flags. I appreciate that's the conversation that we have had here tonight. I think we've given a shout out to everyone. Lakiva, Rami, Marcus, Dennis, Libby. There are so many of you are out here. We so appreciate the love and the support that you are giving us. You just cannot know. Please go out to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you have not done so. We have a Facebook page. We would love for you to like that there. And that is most often where we are going to post our link for every week, that and our Instagram page. Again, if you would like to, and Marcus says he does the counseling, and I'm so glad you do, baby. If you would like to send us something via email, please feel free to reach out to us via email at getthebelt23@gmail.com. You can also mail me a new belt. I'm happy to do that. But just support our social media platforms and our page. We thank you guys. We are going to see you here again next Saturday. I think by next Saturday, Jamal and I will be face to face. So this is going to be really kind of funny, sort of, to be in the same space doing that. It is podcast.
It's gonna be hilarious.
It's
It's gonna be
podcast number
hilarious.
5. It's podcast number 5. And again, we hope that even in this, we're encouraging someone. This started out to be something we had talked about for a long time as sort of a joke. And as I shared with you during the first one about maybe 2 months ago, we were like, you know what? Let's just do this. And here we are having this wonderful conversation with you on Saturday night. So we'll see you next Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard
Hold
Time.
on.
Jamal, something, baby?
Yeah, I got some stuff. First off, I before we go, this is a serious situation. I go through my timeline on well, now X or whatever you want to call it, and I had a friend that was speaking about his mental portion at the time, and he was talking about taking his own life and everything. And I reached out to him because I don't know him. I don't know him from a can of paint. Didn't know him or whatever, anything like that. And I just, hey, I asked, I just gave him some encouraging words, prayed for him, and then some. People, really pay attention to your people. Reach out to them. Check on each other. Check on your loved ones that you haven't heard about. This is another thing, people. Pay attention or not pay attention. When somebody comes to your heart or somebody comes to your mind, shoot them a quick text or call them. Don't ignore why they came in your mind. Call them, reach out to them,
Yes.
do that.
Yes.
You just never
Yes.
know how you can help or change somebody's heart and they can continue on. And you never know who
Yeah.
you can impact. And I check on the
Absolutely.
guy even to this second because that really got to me. And I'm a lot more open on my heart and everything like that because I used to be so stern. I used to, act like it was tough to be, just so, super tough and not. And I'm gonna use another example, even though it's the truth. Marcus and myself. I appreciate you, Marcus, because me and Marcus had a thing. It was on another platform. I said some things, but I had to be respectful to him. Years ago, I wouldn't have did that. You know what I'm saying? But I love Marcus enough to know that how he's done and been around me, I appreciate him. And I knew that I was wrong on some things that I had said outwardly. You got to understand the people that you have around you. You got to know how to go to those people and say, you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong about such and such. But reach out to them people, man. Speak to them people. Talk to them. Hey man, they came into your mind for a reason. Don't make it your last time that you ever hear it. That's the worst thing. That's the worst feeling you'll ever have if that person came to your mind
Absolutely.
and you had the
Absolutely.
opportunity to say something and you didn't. Do that, y'all. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all.
Okay.
Hit that like, hit that thumb up, subscribe button as well. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We here every week, y'all. 8 p.m. Eastern. Hey, just come in to get the belt. Join us. Trust me, Auntie Kim will drop gems. I'll drop gems. And trust me, we always gonna keep it 100 with y'all in here. I promise you that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We love you. We'll see you next Saturday. Bye.
Peace. Love y'all. Laters. We out.